What would you do if your girlfriend texted you, "I can't make it home tonight. Don't wait up"? I didn't scream. I didn't call. I just replied, "Thanks for letting me know, but trust me, my revenge didn't need words." Because sometimes, the quietest heartbreak creates the loudest comeback. This is the story of how one calm reply turned into the most unexpected revenge she never saw coming. I'll never forget the sound of my phone that night. One vibration, one message, and my whole world tilted. It was from Haley. "I'll be staying at Walker's tonight. Don't wait up." Just like that, our 2-year relationship turned into a breakup text, disguised as a schedule update. I stared at the screen, my heartbeat echoing in my ears. I didn't yell. I didn't text back paragraphs. I simply replied, "Thanks for letting me know." That's the thing about heartbreak. Sometimes the quiet moments hit harder than any fight. I sat on the couch for a long time, phone face down, replaying every memory that suddenly meant nothing. Walker was her coworker, the one she always said I didn't need to worry about. She'd laugh, "He's just a friend, Noah." Now he was the man she was staying with. It wasn't just cheating, it was betrayal wrapped in calm words. And maybe that's what hurt the most. Around midnight, I stood up, walked into our bedroom, and started packing. One shirt, one dress, one perfume bottle at a time. The air felt heavy, but my heart felt strangely clear. By 2 a.m., every box was sealed. I took one last look at the room, empty, peaceful. For the first time, I wasn't waiting on anyone. I grabbed my keys, loaded the boxes into the car, and whispered to myself, "If she wants Walker, she can have him." That night, I didn't cry. I acted. The drive to Walker's place felt like driving through the end of a movie. Rain tapped the windshield. The city lights looked blurry. Each red light gave me time to breathe, to think about how quietly love can die. Haley's betrayal didn't feel like a storm. It felt like silence. I stopped in front of Walker's apartment, lifted the trunk, and carried the boxes to his door. No note, no explanation, just closure in cardboard. When I got back to my car, I stared at my hands. They weren't shaking anymore. For the first time in months, I felt control. This wasn't angry breakup revenge. It was peaceful. Goodbye. Back home, Eli called. "You okay, man?" I told him the story. He exhaled slowly. "Bro, that's silent revenge right there. She's gonna lose her mind when she sees those boxes." He was right. At 3 a.m., my phone started buzzing over and over. "Haley, Noah, what did you do? Why would you leave my stuff there? Please pick up." I didn't. I placed the phone face down and drifted into the first deep sleep I'd had in weeks. The next morning, sunlight filled the apartment. The one smelled like her perfume. It felt strange, empty, yet calm. Around 10, a knock at the door. Haley stood there, messy hair, red eyes, wearing Walker's hoodie. "Noah, can we talk?" she whispered. I opened the door halfway. "Your things are with Walker. Isn't that where you're staying now?" Her face twisted. "It's not what you think." "Then what is it?" I asked. "Because I think you texted your boyfriend while living with your boyfriend." She started crying. "It was just a bad night. I crashed there after work. Nothing happened." I looked at her calmly. "Then, explain why your toothbrush was already in his bathroom." Silence. She stepped closer, but I didn't move. "Please, Noah. I messed up." I cut her off softly. "We both did. I believed you when I shouldn't have." Then I closed the door. No shouting, no drama, just finality. Outside, I heard her sob once before footsteps faded away. Inside, the peace stayed. Before that night, I really believed Haley and I had something solid. We met at a friend's barbecue. She was the loudest laugh in the yard, the one who spilled lemonade on her shoes and didn't care. I fell for her energy, her confidence. When she landed her new design job, she mentioned Walker, my mentor, total professional. At first, I was proud of her, but soon, I started noticing small shifts. Late-night project meetings, a second phone passcode, fewer hugs, quicker goodbyes. I told Eli about it once. He said, "If you have to wonder that much, you already know." I didn't want to believe him. Love makes you ignore what's obvious. You convince yourself. Loyalty can out-argue suspicion. But every time Haley said, "Trust me," her eyes looked somewhere else. Looking back now, the signs were neon. The cheating girlfriend wasn't a shock, it was confirmation. Still, I can't hate her. She showed me the difference between connection and convenience. And maybe that's the saddest kind of heartbreak. The moment you realize the person who promised to protect your heart was just borrowing it. It didn't happen overnight. The distance grew like slow rust. We stopped laughing at small things. Dinner became quiet. The bed felt colder. I remember one evening when she came home smelling like someone else's cologne. I asked, "Rough day?" She said, "Yeah, Walker and I stayed late finalizing the client pitch." Walker again. Always Walker. I should have confronted her then, but I was tired of feeling paranoid. Instead, I buried my doubts under politeness. When people think of breakup revenge, they imagine shouting or slamming doors, but real revenge is growth. It's staying calm while the other person drowns in their guilt. Haley didn't notice that I had stopped arguing. That was the first sign I was leaving mentally, emotionally, quietly. By the time she sent that text, I had already lost her months ago. The message was only confirmation of what silence had been saying for weeks. She was already gone. Eli has been my best friend since high school. One of those people who can read a storm before the thunder. We met for lunch 2 days after Haley's text. I told him everything. The boxes, the 3 a.m. calls, the door slammed in silence. He stirred his coffee slowly. "Noah, she's gonna come back when Walker gets bored. That's how these stories go." I sighed. "What if she's really sorry?" He shook his head. "Sorry after betrayal is like flowers after a funeral. Too late to matter." Eli never sugar-coated heartbreak. He'd seen me fight to keep people who weren't fighting for me. This time, he said, "Don't chase closure. Let silence be the message." Those words stuck. Because the truth is, breakup revenge isn't always about payback, it's about peace. When someone chooses to hurt you, the loudest revenge is to keep living like they never mattered that much. That night, I deleted our photos, muted her social media, and cleaned the apartment again. For the first time, the space didn't feel lonely. It felt mine. Looking back, I can list every red flag I folded into an excuse. The work trips that only Walker understood. The new phone she guarded like a diary. The nights she'd turn away in bed when I tried to talk. I remember sitting on the couch while she texted, smiling at her screen. "Who's that?" I asked. She said, "Just Eli asking about you." Funny, Eli never texted her. My stomach had already known, but my heart kept negotiating. That's the worst part of loving a cheating girlfriend. You become your own defense attorney, arguing for a lie you already lost. I should have confronted her sooner, but I thought silence meant strength. Turns out silence can also mean denial. Now I understand what Eli meant. Self-respect starts where begging ends. The night she texted, I didn't just lose Haley, I found my limit. A week before the final text, Haley came home glowing. "We landed the Walker account," she said, hugging me. I smiled, proud, but uneasy. When she showered, her phone lit up. "Walker, can't stop thinking about tonight." My chest tightened. I didn't scroll further. I just placed the phone face down. That night, I lay beside her pretending to sleep. My instincts screamed, but trust kept whispering, "Maybe it's harmless." It wasn't. Every relationship ends the same way it began, with a choice. Back then, she chose me. That night, she chose him. When I tell this story now on Reddit, people always ask, "How did you stay so calm?" Because by the time truth arrives, you're already too tired to scream. Silent revenge isn't planned. It's born from exhaustion that finally decides to heal. The night she texted, I was watching a movie we used to love. Halfway through, my phone buzzed. Her message blinked on the screen like a punchline. "I'll be staying at Walker's tonight. Don't wait up." I froze. No anger. No disbelief. Just clarity. I stood up, paused the movie, and looked around our apartment, our pictures, her shoes by the door, her jacket on the chair. I realized every item was a souvenir of someone who didn't exist anymore. That's when I decided, no confrontation, no public scene, just action. Some people earn closure through shouting. I wanted mine, through peace. So I opened the closet and began. Fold, seal, breathe. Each box felt like one less weight on my chest. By the time I placed the last tape strip, I felt lighter. She wanted space. I gave her the whole apartment. It's strange how healing can sound like packing tape. I remember every rip of the roll, every soft thud of a box closing. I separated her things carefully. Clothes, makeup, sketchbooks. I even packed the framed photo from our first vacation. Not out of kindness, but respect for the person I used to love. Outside, the rain started. Perfect timing. I loaded the boxes into my car, one by one. Each step echoed like a goodbye. On the way to Walker's building, I rehearsed nothing. No revenge speech, no note. Because real breakup revenge doesn't need witnesses, it just needs courage. I left the boxes neatly by his door under the awning. For a second, I imagined their faces when they opened the door, her shock, his guilt. Then, I turned and walked away. When I got home, the bed was half empty, but my mind wasn't. That night, heartbreak met self-respect, and self-respect finally won. The hallway outside Walker's apartment smelled of cologne and fresh paint. I stacked the last box neatly against his door, wiped my palms on my jeans, and just stood there a moment. A neighbor peeked out from down the hall, curious. I smiled faintly and said, dropping something off. It felt almost funny ending a relationship in such a quiet, civilized way. Before leaving, I slipped Haley's house key on top of the pile. No note, no drama, just a clean full stop. Breakup revenge doesn't have to be loud to echo. As I drove away, the city lights reflected on the windshield like tiny exit signs. Every mile between me and that door felt like breathing again. When I reached my place, I texted Eli one line. "It's done." He replied instantly. "Proud of you, man. That's real power." I put the phone away, made myself a coffee, and for the first time in years watched the sunrise alone and felt okay about it. At 3 a.m. my phone exploded with notifications, 10 missed calls, 3 voicemails, half a dozen messages. I didn't have to open them to know they were from Haley. Curiosity won once. I pressed play. "Noah, where are you? Did you really leave my stuff here? Please, everyone's gonna see. Walker's neighbors are staring. Call me back." Her voice trembled somewhere between anger and panic. Then another. "Please, we need to talk. I can't explain everything." I muted the phone. Explanation was a luxury she lost when she chose silence that night. Instead, I turned on some soft music and drifted back to sleep. It's strange how peaceful it feels to stop waiting for someone's apology. That's when I realized, heartbreak ends the moment you choose yourself. 2 days later, she showed up at my building again, this time in daylight. Her hair was neat, but her eyes looked like she hadn't slept. "Noah, please, Walker's married." "I didn't know. It's a mess." I leaned against the doorframe. "And that's supposed to make this better?" She shook her head, tears spilling. "He told me he and his wife were separated. I swear I didn't mean to hurt you." There was the classic twist every Reddit heartbreak story eventually gets. The cheater who becomes the victim of another cheater. But I wasn't angry anymore, just tired. "I hope you figure out what you really want," I said quietly. "But I can't be your safe place while you do." She reached out, but I stepped back. "Goodbye, Haley." The door clicked shut between us, like punctuation. That sound click was more healing than any apology could ever be. A week later, Eli called. "Guess who I saw at the coffee shop?" I didn't answer. "Walker," he said, "with his actual girlfriend, not Haley." Apparently, the office gossip mill had exploded. Walker's girlfriend found out about Haley, dumped him, and HR got involved. He'd been demoted and transferred to another branch. For a second, I almost felt bad. Almost. Karma doesn't always arrive fast, but when it does, it's efficient, and I didn't have to lift a finger. That's the beauty of silent revenge time. Does the work while you move on. That night, I poured a drink, toasted to peace, and finally deleted her number. When everything settled, Haley disappeared from social media. Mutual friends said she'd moved out of town, started therapy, maybe even quit her job. I wished her healing, honestly. Not because she deserved it, but because I did. Carrying bitterness keeps you tied to someone who already left. Eli came over one evening with takeout. "You seem lighter," he said. "Yeah," I replied. "Maybe heartbreak isn't about losing someone, it's about returning to yourself." He nodded. "Write that down for your Reddit post." We both laughed, but inside, I knew he was right. One day, this story would help someone else see that self-respect can be the sweetest revenge of all. Weeks passed. The apartment grew quieter, cleaner, lighter. Sometimes I'd wake up expecting to hear Haley humming in the kitchen, but all I heard was the hum of the fridge. I started noticing things I had ignored before. How morning light hit the wall. How silence could feel warm instead of heavy. Heartbreak used to mean absence. Now it meant space room for new peace to breathe. One night I scrolled through Reddit, reading stories that sounded just like mine. Cheating girlfriends, silent revenge, messy goodbyes. I typed out my own story for the first time. No bitterness, just truth. And when strangers commented, "You handled that with class," I realized I wasn't alone. I didn't need Haley to explain anything anymore. She had made her choice. I had made mine. And peace, I learned, makes less noise than pain, but lasts longer. Eli dropped by one weekend with 2 coffees and his usual grin. "You're actually smiling again," he said, sitting on the couch. I laughed. "Guess I finally ran out of tears." He nodded. "That's the real revenge, bro. You healed. You didn't let her break your character." We talked for hours about love, mistakes, boundaries. He told me something I still think about. People don't destroy you. Your expectations of them do. Lower those, and you win every time. We toasted to new beginnings. After he left, I looked around the apartment. Same furniture, same walls, but it felt brand new. Maybe self-respect is just decorating your life with peace instead of chaos. For the first time, I slept through the night without dreaming about what went wrong. A month later, she texted from an unknown number. "I made a mistake. I miss you." For a moment, I stared at the message, that old ache tapping on my heart, like a ghost knocking. Then I remember the night she told me not to wait up. I remember the boxes, the silence, the peace that followed. So I typed back, "You didn't lose me because of Walker. You lost me because I finally saw myself." I hit send, blocked the number, and exhaled. Some replies aren't meant for reconciliation, they're meant for closure. Months passed quietly. I started hiking again, painting, doing the things I'd paused for love. Heartbreak turned into habit change. Sometimes Eli would joke, "You should start a podcast, Silent Revenge 101. We'd laugh, but deep down I knew he was right about one thing. Peace is addictive. Haley had become a story, not a scar. Walker, a lesson. And me? A man who finally learned that the best breakup revenge isn't making them cry, it's proving they never had the power to control your smile. When I posted the final update on Reddit, I wrote, "To anyone dealing with betrayal, don't waste energy explaining your worth. Just pack your peace and walk away." That comment got more upvotes than any rant ever could. 6 months later, I got one last 3 a.m. call from an unknown number. I didn't need to answer to know who it was. I smiled, turned the phone face down, and went back to sleep. Because sometimes closure doesn't come in words, it comes in rest. In the morning, I stood by the window, coffee in hand, watching the sunrise spill across the city. A new day, a new story, a new me. Eli once told me, the moment you stop explaining yourself to the wrong person, you start attracting the right kind. He was right. Haley taught me heartbreak. Silence taught me strength. And now, I live in peace so loud it drowns out every regret. Because real revenge isn't hate, it's healing.